Hi, I'm Paul Modiano from Logical Developers, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create an MSI deployment installer using IronSpeed Designer. Now, you might ask the question, why do you need to create an MSI deployment installer for your IronSpeed application? Do you need to? No, you don't. You don't need to use it. But there are advantages to using it. You could instead, for instance, take all your files, assuming you've pre-compiled it, copy them to the production box, and set up IIS in a way that you've registered your application as an application. And that'll work. But what you'd be copying over is a lot of bloat, where if you actually make an MSI deployment installer, you'll have a leaner, pre-compiled app. The other advantage is that it'll set the application up for you in IIS. So you could say that the greatest advantage to creating an MSI deployment installer for your IronSpeed application is that there is decreased chance of error and less work in deploying your app. Now, this is not a production-ready application, but let's pretend it is. Let's pretend we're going to deploy it very simply by clicking Deploy, Generate Deployment Installer. In the dialog, you could see that it took the name of my project and added an _ deploy to it. So that's the folder that it wants to put it in. And what you could do is make a designation like 1 so that you can keep track of them as you generate more. The other thing you see is this checkbox for Generate MSI Installer. Now, if you do not check that box, it's going to create the compiled version of the application. But if you do click this, it will also generate the MSI installer, which is going to take all your files, compress them into a very small, compact format, and you'll be able to copy them to your server more quickly via FTP. You can see that we can name our application here, and we probably want to say what version by adding a 0 over here, and you can add your company name and product description, trademark, what have you. If I click OK, it's going to start the compilation and the deployment creation, and that's going to take a little while, so I'm going to come back to it as soon as it's done. Well, it's been several minutes since I pressed the button, and here we are, it's complete. Let's see what it has done. If we look in the parent of the application folder, we see a deployment package right here. Let's look inside there. And first thing we see is a solution, and that can allow you to open the deployment solution in Visual Studio. And sure enough, if we double click on it, it opens a solution in Visual Studio 2008. Returning to the deployment folder, we see two subdirectories. The first one is the deploy subdirectory. Let's look quickly in here. And we see that we have our release subfolder and we have our project file. And within there is our app. And if we look at it, we'll see that it's pretty trim, and you have all your compiled code in the bin directory, ready for fast operation. But there's something else to look at, and this is something that you might think about doing. If you go into folders where you have IronSpeed pages, you see these HTML and XML files, and you don't need them. They are sort of leftovers of your project, and you could feel free to get rid of everything but the ASPX files. And of course, leave these report Word buttons alone, but the HTML and XML versions of your pages can be thrown out. The second subdirectory within your deployment folder is the setup directory, and that's where you'll find your MSI. And here it is, a compact file that can be brought to the server. It also makes a setup.exe that'll launch it, but that's all you need to install your application on a production server. For more information, you could go to the IronSpeed forums, or you can use the knowledge base. Thanks for watching.